Well, the image is one thing, and a human being is another, you know.
A secret footage has just been found, one that captures the final 24 hours of Elvis Presley's life. For decades, investigators have searched for clues about what truly happened before the king's sudden passing. But now this never-before-seen film reveals hidden moments, private conversations, and haunting details that were kept from the public eye. But why was this footage buried for so long? Join as we find out the answers within these frames that may finally tell the truth about the man behind the legend. The secret footage discovery. The world thought it knew everything about Elvis Presley. Fans studied every detail, researchers wrote several books, and documentaries covered his last moments at Graceland. But in early 2024, something incredible happened that changed everything. There had been a private auction of some properties at Graceland during that period, and a private collector in Memphis got hold of an old storage unit that belonged to a former Graceland staff member. Inside dusty boxes filled with papers and photographs, they found several film reels marked with dates from August 1977, something no one had expected. The footage had laid there for almost 50 years, in complete darkness. The staff member who recorded these moments kept them private out of respect for the Presley family. They never told anyone about the films. Neither did they seek money or fame for possessing such historically important material. After the staff member passed away, the films moved through estate sales and storage facilities. The reels could have easily been thrown away or destroyed. Pure chance saved them from being lost or damaged. The new owner almost missed the discovery entirely. They purchased the storage unit contents for other items they wanted. The film reels sat at the bottom of a heavy box underneath decades of accumulated papers. Nobody knew what treasures hid inside the unmarked boxes. Only careful sorting revealed the canisters. The handwritten dates on the labels caught their attention immediately. August 1977 meant something to anyone who knew music history. That was when Elvis's life had ended. Initial skepticism seemed reasonable. Supposed Elvis artifacts surfaced regularly over the years. Many turned out to be fakes or exaggerations. The owner handled the reels with caution. They contacted film preservation experts before attempting to view the aged material. Improper handling could destroy such film that had survived so many years. The first viewing session proved extraordinary. Experts gathered in a climate-controlled facility with proper projection equipment. As the first reel began playing, everyone in the room fell silent. The images showed Graceland interiors that matched known photographs. The people moving through those rooms looked exactly like Elvis and his associates. The quality suggested amateur filming rather than professional production. Everything pointed toward authenticity. Technical analysis began at once. Specialists compared the footage against known photographs from that exact day. They examined the film stock itself to verify it matched materials available in that particular year. They studied the recording equipment specifications based on image characteristics. They analyzed the handwriting on the film canisters against samples from the staff members' personal letters. Every single test confirmed the footage was genuine. No evidence suggested forgery or manipulation. The Elvis Presley estate received notification about the discovery. Their authentication team reviewed everything with understandable skepticism. Too many people had tried selling fake Elvis materials over the years. But as they watched the footage, doubt transformed into amazement. They recognized rooms, furniture, and personal items from Graceland. They identified specific people who worked there at that time. The estate declared the footage authentic and historically significant. News of the discovery spread quickly through academic and fan communities. Historians who spent careers studying Elvis suddenly had new primary source material. Researchers who thought they knew everything about his final day realized major gaps existed in their knowledge. The footage provided information that no interview or document could match. It showed actual moments rather than remembered descriptions. The decision about public release sparked intense debate. Some argued the footage was too private and should remain sealed. Others insisted historical importance outweighed privacy concerns. The Presley estate carefully considered both positions. They ultimately decided that selected portions could be released while maintaining dignity and respect. The world deserved to see these remarkable historical documents. Technology played a crucial role in making the footage viewable. The original reels had suffered damage from age and storage conditions. Specialists cleaned every frame with deliberate care. They digitized everything using the highest resolution scanners available. Color correction brought faded images back to life. Sound engineers enhanced degraded audio tracks. Months of technical work transformed the deteriorated film into clear, viewable, and audible footage. The restored footage revealed details nobody expected to see. Previous accounts described Elvis's final day based on memories and secondhand reports, but the film showed what actually happened rather than what people remembered years later. Small details contradicted some long-accepted stories. New information filled gaps in the historical record. Everything researchers thought they knew now required reassessment. Viewing the footage created an unusual emotional experience for everyone who saw it. The people in the films had no idea what would happen later that day. They went about normal activities without any sense of approaching tragedy. Elvis himself appeared tired but engaged with life around him. He made plans for upcoming performances. He interacted with loved ones. He lived his final hours as ordinary time. The irony proved almost unbearable for viewers who knew the outcome. The discovery raised important questions about what other materials might still exist. Graceland employed many staff members over the years. Visitors came and went constantly. Other people might have taken photographs or recorded films. Even storage units across Memphis could contain additional historical treasures. Also, private collections might hold materials that nobody recognized as important. This single discovery suggested that more revelations could emerge. The footage also demonstrated how easily history can be lost. Those film reels survived by pure chance. They could have been destroyed in various ways over nearly 50 years. Fire, flood, or simple neglect might have erased them forever. The accidental nature of their preservation showed the fragility of historical records. Important documentation requires active protection rather than passive hope. Experts analyzed everything visible in the backgrounds for additional context. They looked for confirmations or contradictions of accepted narratives. The discovery ultimately served as a reminder that history consisted of real moments lived by real people. Elvis Presley was not just a legend or cultural icon. He was a human being who spent his final day doing ordinary things. He went through his usual routine unaware of what might come next. The footage let people witness those genuine moments with their own eyes. This transformed abstract historical knowledge into vivid, tangible reality that would forever change how the world understood Elvis Presley's last day on Earth. Elvis Presley's final moments at Graceland. The footage began early on August 16, 1977, as morning light filtered through the windows of Graceland. Elvis appeared in casual clothing rather than his famous stage outfits. He wore comfortable pants and a simple shirt. His hair looked slightly messy from sleep. The camera captured him walking through the mansion's familiar rooms. Nothing about the scene suggested anything unusual would happen that day. The kitchen at Graceland bustled with morning activity. Staff members prepared breakfast while others organized the house. Elvis entered and greeted people working there. His face showed tiredness but also warmth when speaking with others. The interactions looked completely natural. Nobody performed for the camera. They simply went about their regular routines. Elvis requested his typical breakfast items. Staff members knew his preferences without asking many questions. They worked efficiently to prepare all of it. The footage showed the casual efficiency of a household that ran like a well-organized machine. Everyone knew their roles and responsibilities. The dining area provided space for Elvis to sit and eat. He did not rush through the meal. Other people joined him at different times during breakfast as conversations flowed easily about simple topics. They discussed weather, plans for the day, and small household matters. These were exactly the kinds of forgettable conversations that filled normal mornings everywhere. After breakfast, Elvis moved to other parts of the mansion. The footage followed him into the living room where he looked through some papers. These appeared to be related to upcoming tour dates. He studied the documents carefully. His fingers traced over printed schedules and locations. The attention he gave these papers suggested genuine interest in the planned performances ahead. Phone calls interrupted the morning several times. Elvis took these calls in different rooms. The camera could not capture both sides of these conversations. Viewers only heard his responses and reactions. He discussed business matters during some calls. Other calls seemed more personal based on his tone and expressions. The mixture of professional and personal communication showed the complexity of his daily life. Staff members approached Elvis throughout the morning with various questions and updates. He made decisions about household matters. He approved or suggested changes to different plans. He asked questions about specific details. The footage revealed someone actively engaged in managing his environment rather than passively letting others handle everything. Mid-morning brought more casual movement through different areas. Elvis checked on various activities happening around the property, demonstrating his involvement in practical matters. The mansion itself provided constant background interest in the footage. Cameras captured glimpses of the famous rooms and decorations. Viewers saw the actual furniture, artwork, and personal items that filled Elvis's home. The interior looked lived in rather than museum perfect. This added authenticity to the scenes. The space clearly functioned as a real home rather than just a tourist attraction. Physical signs visible in the footage provided important historical information. Medical experts who later reviewed these scenes noted various health indicators. Elvis's movements showed some physical discomfort. His energy levels appeared lower than in earlier years. These observations helped doctors and researchers understand his condition during those final hours. Those visual evidence confirmed or clarified details that previously relied only on witness testimony. Personal moments scattered throughout the morning revealed Elvis's private side. The camera caught him looking at family photographs. He paused near certain pictures for longer periods. His expressions during these quiet moments showed reflection and perhaps nostalgia. These scenes felt intimate despite being recorded. They showed someone thinking about life and relationships. The morning footage also captured the constant presence of people around Elvis. Graceland never seemed empty or fully settled. Staff members, friends, and associates moved through the rooms continuously. Some people stayed close to Elvis while others worked in different areas. The level of activity reflected the complexity of maintaining such a large household and managing a major entertainment career. Preparation activities began appearing in the late morning footage. People started organizing items needed for upcoming travel. They discussed packing requirements, while also reviewing schedules and transportation arrangements. Elvis participated in some of these planning conversations. He offered opinions about what should be included or changed. The preparation showed everyone assuming normal continuation of plans. The morning ended with Elvis retreating to a more quiet space within the mansion. The camera showed him settling into a comfortable seating position. He appeared to rest while remaining awake. The pace of activity around him slowed slightly. This transition from busy morning to calmer midday followed natural rhythms that govern most households. Nothing in these final morning scenes indicated any awareness of the approaching tragedy. Musical preparations, the last song. The afternoon brought renewed energy as Elvis focused on musical matters. The footage showed him moving toward the piano room at Graceland. This space held special significance as a place where he often worked on songs and arrangements. The piano itself appeared well used, with sheet music scattered nearby. Various instruments occupied corners of the room. The setting clearly served as a working creative space rather than just decoration. Elvis sat at the piano and began playing familiar melodies. His fingers moved across the keys with the muscle memory built over decades. The camera captured his facial expressions as he played. Concentration alternated with moments of pleasure when certain passages sounded particularly good. He played fragments of different songs rather than complete performances. This represented the natural process of his personal musical exploration and practice. Band members and musical associates arrived during the afternoon. They gathered around to discuss the upcoming tour schedule. The group examined printed song lists and considered the order of performances. Elvis contributed actively to these discussions. He suggested moving certain songs to different positions in the show. He explained his reasoning based on energy levels and audience response patterns. The conversation turned to specific arrangements and musical details. Elvis demonstrated what he wanted by playing sections on the piano. He sang certain phrases to show desired vocal approaches. Other musicians offered suggestions and alternatives. Everyone contributed ideas while respecting Elvis's final decisions about his own performances. Technical considerations received substantial attention during these planning sessions. They discussed costumes, equipment, and stage setup requirements. Elvis showed particular concern about his vocal performance. He talked about keys and ranges for different songs. He mentioned which numbers felt more challenging currently. He asked for adjustments to accommodate his voice. These conversations revealed his awareness of physical limitations while showing determination to deliver quality performances. The footage captured someone balancing realistic assessment with professional ambition. New material under consideration generated excitement during the afternoon session. Elvis examined recently written songs that might work for live shows. He read through lyrics while others played preliminary arrangements. His reactions helped determine which new pieces deserved further development. Some songs received immediate enthusiasm, while others got set aside for future consideration. The musical discussion expanded to include production elements beyond just the songs themselves. They talked about audience interaction and stage patter between numbers. Elvis described moments where he wanted to speak directly to crowds. He considered what stories or comments might work well in different cities. The planning encompassed the complete entertainment experience rather than just musical performance. Recording equipment present in the room allowed for fast documentation of ideas. Musicians captured rough versions of arrangements under discussion. They played back these recordings immediately to evaluate how things sounded. This technology helped the creative process move efficiently. Everyone could hear exactly what they were creating and made adjustments accordingly. Nothing got left to chance or last-minute decisions. Physical rehearsal began for certain songs requiring movement or specific staging. Elvis stood and demonstrated how he envisioned performing particular numbers. He walked through stage positions and gestures. Other band members positioned themselves to match the planned setup. The run-through helped identify potential problems before arriving at actual venues. The level of detail showed the complexity involved in mounting a major concert tour. Energy levels fluctuated during this afternoon work session. Elvis showed strong engagement during discussions about favorite songs. He became animated when describing ideal performance moments. However, longer sessions also brought visible fatigue. He took breaks to rest while others continued planning. The footage honestly documented both energetic and tired periods without hiding either reality. Personal preferences emerged clearly during musical conversations. Elvis expressed stronger feelings about certain songs compared to others. Some pieces connected with personal memories or meanings. Others simply felt more comfortable vocally or emotionally. These preferences shaped the final selections for tour programs. The footage revealed how his personal taste influenced professional choices. Afternoon light changed gradually as sessions continued. Sunshine moved across the room, creating different shadows and highlights. The natural lighting added visual interest to the footage while marking the passage of time. Musical work stretched across multiple hours, showing serious dedication to preparation. The close bond between Elvis and his musical team appeared throughout the afternoon. The supportive relationship reflected years of working together and shared commitment to successful performances. The afternoon session eventually wound down as preparation reached completion. They had covered major planning points and made necessary decisions. Elvis seemed satisfied with the progress achieved. Afterwards, the group began separating with clear understanding of next steps. Equipment got organized and materials gathered. The footage showed the professional conclusion of productive work time. The final musical moments before ending the session felt particularly sad given later events. Elvis played one more song at the piano. The melody filled the room beautifully. His voice sounded clear on this particular piece. The moment captured his musical talent in authentic circumstances. This became one of the last recorded instances of him making music. Final interactions, hours before the tragedy. Evening arrived at Graceland as the summer sun began setting. The footage showed Elvis in more relaxed circumstances compared to the structured afternoon sessions. He changed into different casual clothing. The atmosphere shifted from work-focused to personal time. Fewer people occupied the rooms around him. The pace of activity slowed to match the transition from day to night. Ginger Alden appeared prominently in the evening footage. She and Elvis spent time together in private living spaces. They sat close while talking about various topics. The conversations covered relationship matters, future plans, and simple observations about daily life. Their interaction showed how comfortable and familiar they were around each other. They did not need constant entertainment or activity. Simply being together provided sufficient satisfaction. Dinner preparations began in the kitchen area. Staff members coordinated the evening meal. Elvis requested specific dishes that appealed to him. The menu included comfort foods rather than elaborate cuisine. Everything chosen reflected personal preferences developed over years. The meal represented nourishment, but also routine and familiarity within his home environment. Television provided background entertainment during parts of the evening. Elvis and Ginger watched programs together. They commented occasionally about what appeared on screen. The television served as casual companionship rather than focused viewing, as their attention drifted between the programs and their own conversations. This represented typical evening relaxation for a lot of people. Phone calls continued periodically throughout the evening hours. Elvis took these calls with varying levels of interest. Some conversations lasted only minutes while others extended longer. Business matters still intruded despite the late hour. Elvis handled these interruptions with practiced ease. He maintained friendly tones even when discussing complicated issues. Books and reading materials occupied some of Elvis's attention. The footage showed him looking through various publications. He read certain passages carefully while skimming others quickly. The range of materials included everything from spiritual texts to current magazines. His reading interests reflected intellectual curiosity and desire for mental stimulation beyond just entertainment industry matters. Evening medication became visible at certain points in the footage. Elvis took prescribed pills according to his routine. Staff members assisted with organizing the medications. The process appeared normalized through repetition. Everyone involved treated this as standard health management rather than unusual circumstances. At that point, the footage documented what had become regular practice. Conversations during the evening touched on upcoming travel plans. Elvis and others discussed departure times and travel arrangements. They reviewed what needed packing and what could wait. These practical discussions assumed normal continuation of scheduled activities, and nobody expressed concerns about Elvis's ability to fulfill these commitments. The planning proceeded as though everything would happen according to expectations. Music remained present even during evening relaxation. The sound system played recordings by various artists. Elvis commented on certain songs or performers. He compared different versions of familiar tunes, while his musical knowledge and opinions flowed naturally in conversation. Music provided constant background to his life even during non-working hours. Physical comfort received increasing attention as the evening progressed. Elvis adjusted his seating position multiple times. He mentioned feeling tired from the day's activities. Others around him responded with understanding and accommodation. The household adjusted its pace to match his energy levels. This consideration reflected long-established patterns of care. Nighttime routines gradually began as the evening advanced. Lights dimmed in various parts of the mansion. Some staff members finished their shifts and departed. Gradually, the number of people present decreased. Graceland transformed from a bustling household to a quieter nighttime residence. This daily transition had occurred thousands of times before. Private moments between Elvis and Ginger increased as others left. Their conversations became more intimate and personal. They discussed feelings, hopes, and relationship dynamics. The footage captured a genuine connection between two people who cared about each other. This scene showed vulnerability and emotional openness. Preparations for sleep soon began. Nighttime medications got organized and taken. Everything followed established routines designed to promote rest. Final conversations of the day covered simple topics. Elvis and Ginger discussed plans for the next morning. They mentioned what time to wake up. They talked about activities scheduled for the following day. These mundane plans assumed continuation into tomorrow. Neither person showed any sense of danger or change. The footage showed Elvis settling into bed while still awake. He adjusted pillows and blankets for maximum comfort. Reading materials sat within reach. The television remained accessible for late-night viewing if desired. Everything got arranged according to long-practiced preferences for the night retirement. Meanwhile, Ginger remained present in the bedroom during these final filmed moments. They continued light conversation while Elvis settled in for sleep. No dramatic moments occurred. The evening simply ended like countless evenings before it. The last footage captured Elvis appearing relaxed despite his tiredness. His face showed the peaceful expression of someone ready for rest. Nothing in his demeanor suggested distress or concern. The scene simply showed a man preparing to sleep after a long day. The simple nature of it made these final documented moments especially powerful. Legacy and historical understanding. The newly discovered footage fundamentally changed how historians understood Elvis Presley's final day. Previous accounts relied heavily on interviews conducted years after the events. However, memory faded and changed over time. People unconsciously altered details when retelling stories. This footage provided objective documentation that could not be disputed or misremembered. It had visual evidence that confirmed, contradicted, or clarified various claims made over the decades. Medical professionals gained valuable insights from analyzing the footage. Doctors observed Elvis's physical condition directly rather than depending on verbal descriptions. His movements, posture, and facial expressions provided diagnostic information. Specialists noted signs of fatigue and discomfort visible in the recordings. These observations helped explain the medical circumstances that led to his demise. The footage assisted medical understanding without being sensationalistic or disrespectful. The human side of Elvis emerged more clearly through this authentic documentation. Popular culture sometimes portrayed him as larger than life or impossibly glamorous. The footage showed someone incredibly normal in private moments. He experienced the same daily routines as millions of other people. He ate meals, made plans, and interacted with loved ones. This ordinariness made him more relatable while not diminishing his exceptional musical talents. Fans responded emotionally when the footage became public. Many people who loved Elvis's music never saw him as a real person living everyday life. The films bridged that gap between icon and individual. Viewers watched someone they admired doing simple activities. This created stronger personal connections across the decades. Fans felt closer to understanding who Elvis actually was beyond the performances and public appearances. The footage challenged certain myths that developed after Elvis's demise. Some stories portrayed his final years as completely dark and troubled. While he faced genuine difficulties, the footage showed moments of joy and engagement. He laughed with friends. He focused intently on musical preparation. He showed affection toward loved ones. The complete picture included both struggles and positive experiences rather than just one-dimensional suffering. Scholarly analysis of the footage continued producing new insights. Researchers examined background details visible in various scenes. They identified objects, decorations, and personal items throughout Graceland. These environmental details provided context for understanding Elvis's interests and influences. Every element visible in the footage became potential evidence for historical interpretation. The authenticity of casual recording provided advantages over official documentation. Professional photographers and film crews inevitably altered situations simply through their presence. People performed differently when they knew cameras were rolling. The casual nature of this footage meant Elvis and others behaved more naturally. This created more reliable documentation of actual daily life. Cultural impact extended beyond just Elvis fans. The discovery demonstrated how historical understanding remained incomplete until all evidence emerged. Other historical figures might have similar undiscovered documentation waiting in storage units or private collections. This encouraged more thorough preservation efforts and careful examination of existing materials. Important history might hide in unexpected places. The footage also illuminated the lives of people surrounding Elvis. Staff members, musicians, and associates appeared throughout the recordings. Their roles and contributions became more visible and acknowledged. Historical focus often concentrated entirely on famous individuals while ignoring supporting people. This footage helped correct that imbalance by showing the collaborative nature of maintaining Graceland and Elvis's career. Technology preservation became an important lesson from this discovery. The film reels survived nearly 50 years through luck and proper storage conditions. Many historical recordings had been lost through neglect or improper preservation. This success story encouraged better archival practices for contemporary materials. Digital recordings needed equal care to ensure future access. Educational applications for the footage seemed promising. Schools and museums could use these materials to teach about the 1970s culture and music history. Students responded well to visual evidence compared to just reading textbooks. The footage made history tangible and immediate. Young people could see rather than simply imagine life during that period. Ethical considerations surrounded decisions about releasing the footage publicly. Privacy concerns needed balancing against historical importance. The Presley estate carefully reviewed everything to ensure respectful treatment. They selected portions appropriate for public viewing while maintaining dignity. In so doing, this thoughtful approach set standards for handling similar discoveries. The footage ultimately enriched Elvis's legacy rather than diminishing it. Showing his humanity did not reduce his artistic achievements. Understanding his real life made his accomplishments more impressive. He created extraordinary music while dealing with ordinary human challenges. The contrast between his personal struggles and his professional excellence became even more remarkable. Global interest in the footage demonstrated Elvis's continuing cultural relevance. Decades after his passing, new material about his life attracted worldwide attention. His music continued reaching new generations of listeners. The footage provided fresh entry points for people discovering his work for the first time. Historical documentation served both preservation and introduction purposes. The discovery encouraged reflection on mortality and legacy. Elvis could not have known his final day would receive such intense scrutiny. Everyone lived their last day without knowing it arrived. This created philosophical questions about how people should live and what they left behind. Viewers were prompted to consider their own lives and choices. Future research would continue extracting meaning from these recordings. Historical understanding remained an ongoing process rather than a finished product. The ultimate value lay in completing the historical record as thoroughly as possible. Every piece of evidence helped build a more accurate understanding of past events and people. This footage of Elvis Presley's final hours filled gaps that existed for nearly 50 years. It transformed speculation into documented fact. The discovery served truth and knowledge while honoring Elvis Presley's memory and continuing influence on music and culture worldwide. Do you think Elvis himself had known about the footage and wanted it hidden? Let us know your views in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.